going to share with you is the number one way to well-being. And I'd like to acknowledge Kathy Stewart from Carers SA, who shared this information at a workshop, 5 Ways to Wellbeing, that I attended recently. And I found it really inspiring and empowering. And I just wanted to be able to share that with other people, just in case it's helpful for you. So the 5 Ways to Wellbeing was developed by the Royal Melbourne Hospital. So it's a program that was developed by them. And so there's 5 ways to wellbeing, and we're going to look at one today, the one that they see as the most important to improving your well-being. So how did they find that out? How did they research this? What they did is looked at in what areas of the world, is there a particular area in the world where people are living the longest? Because we know that our well-being isn't just our physical health, it is an absence of a disease is part of it, but it's also having health at all levels: psychological, physical, social, emotional, and spiritual. These all play a huge role in our well-being. So they looked around, and there's these blue zones in the world. And they looked at one of these blue zones, and a blue zone is the area in the world where people are living the longest. And this one area that had the most amount of people living the longest was the island of Sardinia in Italy. And they looked at why is this happening there. They looked at their diet, at their exercise, the weather. They looked at all of these different components to their lifestyle, and what they found was particularly unique to this particular culture or this area was their social connections, their sense of community. So they not only men get together with men and connect socially, women with women, but also all ages, all areas of the community regularly get together and connect. So this number one way to well-being is connection. So if it's so important, if it plays such a big role in our well-being, how can we harness this to improve our well-being? Because we have these really deep connections that we have with our loved ones, whether it's our family, those that we hold really close. And then we have those broader connections with the community, our work, our social groups. And another important connection is making new connections. And I was listening recently to a podcast, it was a neuroscience topic on that podcast about how wonderful it is for our brains to be able to create new connections with people. So we have all these different levels of connection, and how do we nurture these connections so that our well-being and the well-being of others is improved? So with these deep connections that we have with family and friends, it's listening with our hearts and our minds when that person is speaking. It's taking the time, giving the thought in those connections. So maybe it's putting our phones away and really listening. Perhaps it's someone that we really hold close, but we don't see them very often. Maybe that would be then writing a letter or sending a postcard instead of a text or an email. Now, a lot of these things perhaps we used to do in the past and we don't do now. But maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to really nurture these connections. And on a day-to-day basis, maybe these broader connections, it could be just simply smiling. It could be making eye contact with people. It could be a kind, genuine word to that person, something that is encouraging or uplifting. These can all really make a difference. It makes a difference to the person that you're connecting with, and it makes you feel wonderful too, which is great for your well-being. But let's be honest, not all connections are uplifting and positive. Sometimes they can be quite draining. And we don't have a choice always about that. Sometimes it's the people we work with, sometimes it's the people in our families or that we have that we care for. they can be draining to our energy levels and our well-being. So we can balance that out by nurturing those relationships that are uplifting and positive. So those people that inspire us, that make us feel great, we really nurture those relationships so that we're able to balance out our energy levels. And I think another important piece of this connection is connection to ourselves. Because if we're always putting our energy out there, connecting with people and giving and all of this sort of thing, sometimes we can feel really depleted. So we want to save space in our lives, build into our lifestyle the ability or the time to connect with ourselves. And everyone has a different way that works for them. For some of us it's yoga, other people it might be another practice, meditation. But this is really important because when we take the time to connect with ourselves, we remember what's really important. And those things that are really important to us are what helps nurture our well-being, the relationships, the activities. And when we connect with ourselves, we're able to see how we're feeling, what our energy levels are like, and then what we can then do to make ourselves feel balanced, to increase our well-being. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. That the number one way to well-being is connection. We can connect with people in all different sorts of ways, and there's some ideas. And I'd love to know what you feel like helps you to nurture your well-being. Are there connections that are really, really important to you? But please, in the comments below, I'll have a look at them afterwards. Let me know what really helps support your well-being, what helps you to fill up your bucket. That's the way my daughter learns about it at school, filling up other people's buckets and filling up our own bucket and knowing what things do that. So thank you so much for joining me. Please drop a comment below if you have any questions or just anything to share. Wonderful to connect with you here. So there are 4 more ways to well-being, and I'm going to share those with you over the next coming weeks. Have a wonderful day, and I will be in contact with you soon. Bye.